Hello, how
Hi.
are you again? So, for everyone who is tuning in right now to the latest episode of The Future of Theater, I am joined today by an old chum from college that I haven't seen in a few years. It's only been like 2 years since college, right? But since college, you have actually become quite the wizard of hair, makeup, probably accessorizing, probably styling. I'm sure you have plenty of tricks up your sleeve, but I think the most important thing is that you are Meg Murphy. Hello.
Hello, it's me.
I felt it important to like let my hair down and actually like do it for for a Broadway stylist to
It's
be in your
gorge.
presence.
It's absolutely gorge, hen.
Oof. Well, I tried using no product because I didn't want to wash it out. It's like there's so much stuff about hair that I know now that I have it that I'm just like I don't want it. I don't. But before we get too far, I will say that I am really excited for you to be on because you are actually probably living the future that a lot of people are going to be living by being on set. And I definitely want to touch base on how that is different these days than it was before, like what set life is like, and going to work, how that is all different since the pandemic. But before we get there, let's sort of fill some people in into some gaps, especially me. So last we saw each other was college, and we both actually graduated with performance degrees, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I graduated with a BFA in acting and then a double minor in history and in business management. So I was all over
Doing
the
everything.
place.
Yep. I remember those days. Yep.
And
I'd be like, "How you doing, Meg?" And it's like,
statistics are the worst. Yeah.
but you still got it all done. Like I was always very impressed by your hustle, which you've kept up, I see.
Thank you. Yeah, it was freshman year. Our BFA program made us take what they called, a stagecraft. And
Right,
I took the makeup class because I figured, easy A. And
right,
little did I know I would stumble into a world that would change my life, kind of.
right.
And I started running the shows at Marymount and then designing the shows at Marymount. By my junior year, I was working off Broadway. So when I finished my undergrad, I ended up going back to school and got my licensing and certification in hair and makeup, and then I did the master styling program that was available through my school, and then I moved back to the city and kind of hit the ground running and haven't looked back. So
Good stuff. And I think the first time that I was really aware that that you had changed career paths was when I saw you in the New York Times. That was that your sort of first big sort of shout out as a designer and stylist, I guess.
I guess, yeah. That was pretty cool. It was certainly a validating moment for my family because they were like, "Oh, look, that's a thing. She's really working a real job, I guess." So that was
Well,
pretty
you worked
cool.
during college, but was this after you got your license?
Um, yeah, yeah. It was after I got my license, and then my first gig was, oh God, I'd have to look at my resume. I think it was
Right.
I was the supervisor for a little off Broadway show with Red Bull Theater called The Changeling. And then I left that run a little early and ended up becoming the hair and wig supervisor for Old Hats at Signature Theater with Bill Irwin and David Shiner. And that was pretty exciting. And then after that,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was I designed my first off Broadway show solo, which was Coriolanus, um,
Ooh.
and that was a lot of fun. A lot of tattoos and blood and death. You know, that was a good one. And then I kind of went from there into I was the designer in residency at Bay Street Theater in the Hamptons in Sag Harbor. So I was spending my summers in the Hamptons.
Ooh, ooh, so luxurious.
So hard. No, it was a lot of hard work, but I met a lot of really great people. Had the opportunity to work with, a lot of really talented designers and a lot of really talented actors out there. And from there, I jumped into the Great White Way, to the Broadway. I
Good stuff. And that's kind of that's where you started off the year. Was your Broadway gig.
Yeah. So as of May 2019, am the hair and wig supervisor for Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway. Love of my life.
Definitely needs a shout out. Definitely started one of the paths that it took was through Arena Stage, which is a local favorite of mine. So definitely, Dear Evan Hansen gets a shout out. Hello, everyone. um, and so is the whole company furloughed? Or are you out of jobs? Or, officially unemployed? I'm not even sure what other gray area there is, but are you guys fired?
I don't know the exact answer to that.
Right. Mhm.
You know, it is official. We are officially suspended through May. Um, as far as what that means right now, we are currently unemployed.
Mhm.
I have been hugely supported by company management and our producers, Stacey Mindich, and the entire team to take work during this time, with the assumption and the hope that we will be back, when it is safe for us to be back. The main priority, I think, of everyone on Broadway is, yes, we are hurting and we love our jobs and miss our jobs so much, but we're not willing to hurt ourselves or be unsafe with anyone around us. So we need our audiences to come and enjoy the show and not fear for their lives. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Definitely.
still a pandemic out there, and until we can take real big steps towards a healthy and safe way to come back, we won't. So, whether that's a vaccine or, I always said that we should just rotate out the Delacorte in Central Park, but nobody wanted to,
Oh.
you know.
Put that on the idea board. Put that on the idea board.
Um,
Wow. So if we can go back to the beginning of the pandemic,
hmm.
what what were you lined up to do? Was it just sort of like you were waiting for the next gig? Did you have things lined up that you had to cancel? What was the beginning of 2020 like as you were working on Broadway at Evan Hansen?
I am very, very lucky, and I found my special once in a lifetime unicorn show. Our very small, intimate company is something that is like catching lightning in a bottle. It only happens once. So I was very lucky to be, I was one of the first swings for the hair department. So I had been with the show for quite a while before I took over officially as supervisor. So my intention was to kind of get cozy and stick around for a little while.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was, I will never forget. It was Wednesday night. After a two-show day, and my dear friend Asa, who is the understudy for Larry, Asa and I had a little 10-15 minute window in Act Two where we catch up, we talk about the Hotspurs and football, and whatever. And he was like, I think we might make it to the end of the week, but don't hold your breath. And I said, oh, we'll definitely make it to the end of the week. And I wouldn't mind a week off, maybe two, but anything more than that is not okay. And he was like, oh, no,
Yeah.
okay. It's not going to be more than 2 weeks. And, here we are, what is it, 8 months later. So I was actually
Is it still 2020?
not for long, at the theater on Thursday afternoon doing my work call for the wigs, when the official announcement went out. And it was actually on Instagram that I found out before anything else. I think Broadway.com or something leaked it before any of the company management. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but yeah. So I like quickly put the wigs to bed, got enough of my stuff out of there, and like hopped in a cab and went home. And my roommate was like, "What are you doing here? Like, get out!" And I'm like, "I'm unemployed for forever. What am I gonna do?" So
Oh, oh,
it was crazy.
oh.
But yeah, the entire community kind of thought it was only going to be about a month long, and
Yeah. Hmm.
it's not.
Right.
But
Right. Ooh.
yeah.
How has New York changed for you personally?
I didn't realize I was such an introvert. I was very happy in my own little like midlife retirement routine. I'd sleep in,
Right.
I'd do a little exercise, I'd make myself a nice breakfast, I'd take a little walk with the dog, I'd make fancy dinners and, clean the house. I was like this little housewife, and it was kind of nice for a little while.
Right. Right.
But I live up in Washington Heights, which I always joke is the suburb of Manhattan. Um, a lot of people that live up here are, it's very residential. So for mostly up here, it's kind of, business as usual, which is kind of nice. I did have to take the dog to the vet in Soho, and I thought I was in like a war zone. It was crazy that everything was boarded up and chained up, and there was graffiti everywhere. And then the few times that I've been to Midtown, either to get my stuff out of the theater or went on a bike ride or whatever it may be, it's just a ghost town. It's crazy to come out of the subway and at 42nd Street and be able to like swing your arms around and not hit anyone. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. Ooh,
I
that's an empty Times Square is very eerie for me.
agree. And, I know a lot of people have been impacted by the fact that people just aren't out and about. A dear
Yeah.
friend of mine had to close down his restaurant because it's in Midtown, and without tourism and the theater business, like there's not enough foot traffic. And now that the weather is getting cold outside, they can't have outdoor seating, and it's just crazy. I don't think people realize how much of the New York economy is reliant upon Broadway and the tourism that we bring in.
Yeah.
Because it affects not just the actors, not just the crew, but the bartenders, the company management, the cleaning services, the security guards, the restaurants, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't just impacting artists. This is impacting everyone who was thriving off of a bustling economy.
Right. Definitely. But we do manage to find some silver lining. I do believe that you have been working on multiple shows since most have been allowed to go back to set. How has that been? And what was it like getting to that first gig since not having a job forever?
I actually just wrapped on Sunday a beautiful a beautiful film called Linoleum, starring Jim Gaffigan and Ray Seahorn, written by a brilliant Colin West. It was such a special project to come back to. That was my first job back, and I was fortunate enough to be department heading on such an amazing movie. The script is really something special. But to your point, it was terrifying. I was scared out of my mind. The makeup department head, her name is Ray Cintron. She's talented beyond her years. This is her 9th feature, and she's just brilliant. We had several conversations about COVID compliance, what PPE was going to be provided, what we could do to make sure that the actors felt comfortable in our chairs. Every time we had somebody come into the HMU room, we gave them a whole lowdown on, all right, this is what we're doing to keep you safe. This is what we're doing to keep us safe. Everything's going to be sanitized, barbicide, there will be no cross-contamination. You have your own set bag. Anything that is used on your face or on your hair will not be touched by anyone else. Our hands will be sanitized between each application. It's very different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
But I was so fortunate to come back to such a wonderful film, an indie that is really something special, and with a really wonderful group of extremely talented humans. And that was the thing. Everybody's so hungry for work right now. Everybody was at 10%, 110% of the time. Costumes, art department. I mean, our art department redressed completely empty houses, and it was insane. But everybody is just so happy to be working and to be creating again, because that's what feeds our souls as artists, is to tell the stories that deserve to be told.
Yeah, and were there a lot of theater people in the crew and the cast? Did it feel sort of like the community was there?
It was definitely bare boned. We
Okay.
had
Yeah.
as few people as we could, just to
Mm-hmm.
keep our bubble safe. And
Right.
our producers did a really wonderful job about staying on top of things and making sure that everyone felt safe. We were all staying in the same hotel. We all got tested, 3 times a week. But it was nice to have, it was a very collaborative effort. Everybody really came together to make the best art that we possibly could.
And did you have to take any sort of classes or seminars or webinars, or was it all just sort of like upper management taking care of and relaying all the information?
Upper management did a really lovely job about making sure that all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted, and that everything was on the up and up, and that we were COVID compliant. Ray was really on top of all of the SAG compliant, COVID compliance, everything. 798 offers the classes and the certification to make sure that, all of their stylists and artists are up to date and feel safe, because it's not just making sure that the actor feels safe, it's making sure that we feel safe as well.
Definitely.
Because, they have their masks off, and we have to be the ones that are not just handing them a prop, it's right on top of your face, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're the ones working almost the most closely with them.
Yeah, yeah. And during takes and in between takes, are you on the set, or are you sort of required to stay in your trailer?
So we did as many exteriors as we could, just for safety reasons. So Video Village was, a safe distance away, and everyone was, 6 feet apart as much as they could be at all times. And this project was really cool because they had it's an app called Viewer, VUER, if I'm remembering correctly. And it sends a live feed to your phone. So you don't have to be on top of the monitor in Video Village. You actually have the monitor in your hands, which was really helpful, so that you could see exactly what was going on, even if, you had to be 12 feet away, or even if you were, safely distanced from other crew members. Everyone could stay on top of what was going on and fly in to do any adjustments or anything as needed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would have liked to know before coming onto the set? Is there anything that you were just like, oh, yeah, something I have to do?
how much coffee I was gonna need. No,
Isn't that always the case, though?
I was
Please
like,
tell me they still give you coffee.
oh my God, what is working? What my body was so confused.
Is there still craft services? Is
Yes,
there?
yes,
Okay.
they're so crafty, thank God. But actually, our crafty girl, her name was Nam, and she was the best. Nam, 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 Nam. She was awesome. And the way that they handled it was Nam was with Crafty at all times, and only she could touch it, and she had gloves and everything on, so there was no cross contamination, like no grubby little fingers getting in there and making
Yeah.
everybody sick. So it took a little bit longer. That I guess that's the big moral of the story was I knew things were going to take longer than normal, but that was one thing I did not necessarily anticipate was like how much more time
Yeah.
things were going
Yeah.
to take just to keep everybody safe, So, you got to run and get a snack and it's going to take you a minute because there might be a line and people have to be 6 feet away from each other in that line. And Nom's only one person. She can only pour how many cups of coffee at any given moment. You know what I mean? So
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. So, when it comes to your own hair and makeup designing, styling, is there some sort of principle that you have? Is there some sort of philosophy that you have with your craft?
oh, I
I know, right? Hard question.
like, oh God.
Tell me the
Um,
meaning of life.
for me, it's always been a collaborative effort, right? It's actually something David Mold said sophomore year has stuck, and it's like, why do we do the work? Who does it benefit?
Hmm.
And it's the characters. It's, we show up, we do the work for the characters to tell their story, and it's for the work, it's for the script, it's for them. So um I want to be able to do my job to the best of my ability in order to help facilitate the story, because that's what's important at the end of the day. Yeah, it's great if they look fantastic. Yes, it's great if they, somebody's like, wow, that hair looks wonderful. I'm like, thanks, but it's I've done my job if you don't notice that my job is done.
Yeah, 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 definitely. All that sounds very, very Marymount. For those who don't know, Meg and I are both graduates of Marymount Manhattan College in Manhattan. Good times, good times.
Good
Um,
times.
that I I definitely haven't heard the name David Mold in a while. He was the head of the program and also our acting teacher for a year. That was fun. I wrote a paper. One of the best things I ever written was that paper about my character study. I titled it "You Judged Me for This," but
Me
it
judge
was
never.
finding my asshole, and you were like, "You can't turn that in."
That tracks. I don't remember that, but that tracks.
But what's it called? It was all about how I had to not judge the character and accept that he was a little bit of an asshole. And guess what? I grew up with a lot of really cool assholes, and I think I am one. I know I am one.
Never to me, and that's all that counts.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this very lightly, very like delicately. I think we're both assholes, which is why we both got along really well.
I mean, you gotta be a little mean sometimes, right? You can't be nice to
You know?
everybody. I don't know. I don't know.
But see, that's why I'm so nice all the time, is because like I have like people don't like you if you're just an asshole. You have to give them something
Switch
to
it
like.
up, you gotta change it up every once in a
Switch.
while.
So do you have any projects lined up that are coming up, or are you sort of taking it one day at a time like everyone else?
I am very, very lucky and very, very grateful. I actually start full time with the TV show FBI tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
and we will be shooting through May. So I am unbelievably lucky. The stars aligned, and I will have work for a little while. Um, it's still mind-boggling, and I can't believe how lucky I am. I realize that not many people are as fortunate to say that, and I don't say it lightheartedly. It's a true honor to be working at this time. So that's what's up next is FBI.
Yeah, and for those probably looking for work now and in the coming days, how did you get these jobs? Was it your agent? Was it you calling up people you've worked with? What was that process like during the pandemic?
Again, I say I am extremely lucky. I don't have an agent. I don't have any representation. Most, if not all of the jobs that I've received were based off of recommendations and word of mouth. So um, a lot of my career has been networking and being in the right place at the right time and
Yeah,
not screwing up too bad. you know
I
um
know that. I know that. Yep. Mhm.
uh I've been what's called day playing, so like you go in for the day. I've been day playing with FBI since the pilot, so I've been working with that team. It's now in season 3, so I was lucky enough to meet the department head. Her name's Therese Ducey, and she's the absolute best. I started working with her on The Path. That was on Hulu many moons ago,
Mhm.
and then kind of followed her until the ends of the earth. She's great. So I've been lucky enough that I've had Broadway connections in the film and TV world that have trusted me and given me a chance to prove myself. Samantha Weiner, Mark Bailey Capalbo have brought me onto Katie Keene and The Deuce, and I've been enough of a workhorse that even on a Broadway schedule, 6 days a week, I would always try and day play Mondays, for sure, and then whenever I can during the week, just to keep my foot in the film and TV world, because I know I love both very much.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's just right now, film and TV is able to move forward in a way that Broadway can't, unfortunately.
Right. Right. Definitely. And what's it called? Before we go any further, I need to grab this little guy. He was just wanting some attention. But what's it called? But yes, this is Marshmallow. Hello. He's probably gonna make a cameo
Hello!
every time. He just
Hello,
got a
Woof Woofs.
hair. His hair was just as long as mine not too long ago. Um, so talking a little bit more about the future,
hmm
what are you gonna be really excited about going back to the theater?
Oh my God, I'm so ready to go back to the Music Box Theater. You have no idea. My heart aches for that show, for that just the immense pride I feel walking through that stage door every day. Um, greeting Tim, the doorman, seeing everybody, Max and Sound, Jeff, and like everybody. It's just, ugh. um, I'm I'm very lucky. There's no community quite like Broadway, and our show is so intimate and so small that we're all so close. And actually, for my birthday this year, I had a virtual game. I had two virtual game nights, and one of them was with Dear Evan Hansen, because I can, they're my family. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited to go walk back into that theater and walk up all 4 flights of stairs to my hair room and pass by the understudy room and make fun of the little kids that make me feel so old. Oh my God, like Andrew Barth Feldman, 18 years old. He's, calling My Tunes oldies. I'm like, oh God.
Like
But
Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys.
yes, and they made fun of me, and of course I listen to like yacht rock all the time because I'm an 84-year-old man. Anyway, so I can't wait to just get in there and do what I love to do with the hugely talented people that I get to do it with. Jess Phillips, she and I have a wonderful relationship, just joking around back and forth. And, all of the understudies are so wonderful. I can't wait to hear stage management call a half hour or call places, call 5. I'm like
Yeah, yeah.
doing Broadway Cares, waiting for the speech, auctioning off the cast. And by cast, I mean like the actual, the cast, not like the ensemble of company members.
Uh-huh.
If
Right.
anybody doesn't know, Evan breaks his arm, and I'm actually the one that applies. It's a real cast that we put on for every show, and then I saw it off at intermission, which is terrifying.
Electric saw or just like,
Yeah, like a power saw.
oh,
Yeah, I walked in, I was training, and it said like use the Dremel to saw off the cast, and I was like, what? And the first time I was like holding the saw, I was like, please don't kill Ben Platt, please don't kill Ben Platt,
that was actually the next level of the makeup class in college.
Yeah, I was a
Power tools.
sick for that one. So
Oh my goodness. The four walls of
Oh.
a theater. Who is part of the future for you?
I think I'm gonna answer that in two different ways. All right, so film
Okay.
is brilliant and magical and wonderful, but it's a very different world than Broadway. And there are some people who can kind of play in both worlds and succeed in both worlds, and there are some people that are more adapt to one or the other.
Mhm.
With that being said, there are some of the warmest, most brilliant, most talented humans that work on Broadway, and I have no doubt in my mind, we will be back. We're gonna figure it out, and there are a sea of hungry, wonderful humans that are just ready at the bit to come back as soon as we get the green light. So as far as the future in terms of like 6 months from now, a year from now, I don't know what that's going to look like. But I can tell you 2 years from now, fingers crossed, there are going to be a sea of dressers with venti Starbucks, like ready to do quick changes in 15 seconds. Like no time has passed at all. There are, going to be stage managers with the headsets on, ready to go, ready to call go 800 times in 2 hours.
I'm sure some are like doing that at night, like all by themselves. Like I've definitely like found myself whispering like, no, do it slow. Like giving like notes as if like my assistant is like next to me, like tell them move further down. You need something to get back into that to that feeling, like
And there's
ooh.
little events that are, well, not little, but there's events that are happening. I know some of my Ain't Too Proud friends are really, the Macy's Day little snippets are coming up, and like we're figuring ways out, and Diana is getting filmed, so like that whole team is figuring out what that looks like. And I know, like we're scrappy. Us theater kids, we're scrappy. And you can't tell us no. We won't take no for an answer. Like we're gonna.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe that's gonna be taping stuff or doing more script readings virtually, or like more collaborative workshops on Zoom. And
Right.
small like attendance fee for anyone who wants to like watch the process happen. I'm sure there are
Hmm.
members out there who would love to see what like a table read of a new script looks like, you know, that kind of stuff. So maybe it's more virtual online stuff, which I know everybody's so sick of, but you know, we're going to keep working. We're going to keep creating, and we're going to keep telling stories, because that's what makes our souls happy, you know?
So, like, anyone out there who wants to create, do it. Everyone has a camera on their phone.
100%.
Do it.
Now's the time.
Because you can't get good until you realize what it is that you're doing. We originally started as a online theater company, and then that label in itself just was pigeonholing us. So we're now this sort of vague producing entity. But I have learned as a historian. Where's my? I tend to mansplain a lot, so I'm gonna. This is like my mansplaining belt, because I know I'm doing it. But I'm trying to use my powers for good. But you can't get good until you like mess up a few times. So take your phone out, mess up, because you know what? Nothing matters until you're famous. Just putting it out there.
Nothing.
Do it. Fail. Failing is a privilege. Allow yourself that privilege. All right, that's my end of my mansplaination.
I appreciate the mansplain.
You always did. You always were very. You were always very receptive to it. I appreciate that.
Well, my little female brain can't possibly.
You're a beautiful person. I love you so much. What is that one thing in your kit that you have to have? What is that thing that you cannot go to work without it?
My set belt.
Okay.
I have it's a little unconventional. I got it from Manhattan Wardrobe Supply, and I love it. It's so most people have like over the shoulder strap like set bags, but I have that belt, and because I like to have everything like on my person.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because I came from Broadway and everything was in a little apron, and because I waited tables for so long, so I was so used to having like that I like trying to get into the shoulder. It drove me nuts. So I would say, my set belt, because it's got my combs, my hairspray, and like my little onset like doodads and whatnot right at the ready. So no matter who it is or what I have to do, like that's my like emergency, I can do whatever I got to do thing. So set belt. Final answer.
Good stuff. Is that? And I guess I can reveal our next guest, because it is a fellow Marymounter. My next guest will be producing powerhouse Lauren Lacroix.
Hey, girl.
Right.
She's so fierce. She's killing it. Like, not just bi-coastal, but she's like flipping
international
over the pond. Like, yes, get it.
See, this is the part that I miss about theater. I miss bragging about our friends. That's the part that I really want to do more of, and it's probably why I'm doing this talk show now.
I still brag about everybody. I'm like, pish posh, what I do. You hear what they did? Yeah, like
right.
Them, they're great. Do this, yeah, always, 100%.
Journey, and thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure, my friend.
So nice to see you, and hope
Binge.